Hey, this is Russ Andersson. In this tutorial, we're going to use the phase system in SynthEyes to set up a coordinate system for a shot. And here's our shot. It's just a helicopter flyover of Philadelphia from Artbeats. So we're going to start out with a simple auto track of it. And as soon as that auto track is done, the auto place tool is running also, so that it set up a ground plane, fairly arbitrarily here. So we'll just go and do a quick tracker cleanup. There are a couple of trackers on some cars down on the road here. So we'll take those out and refine our solve. So now we've got something to work with, and we'd like to set up a coordinate system for it. So to get an idea of what we'd like to do, let's go take a look at Google Maps here. And Google Maps shows this Benjamin Franklin Parkway running, whatever it is, southeast from the art museum up at the top. So let's adjust the coordinate system in SynthEyes to get that same orientation to match the map. So here's the parkway here, and we'll go and select two of these. So those are two trackers along it. And we'll go over now to the phase library, or to the phase view. Switch to this view here, and unfortunately the window isn't quite large enough to show all the menus here. So you'll just have to understand that there are more menus down at the bottom that I'm using just to pick these particular things. So what I want to do is just set up a basic configuration to start with. And here we've got just a clean start and a solve. And now what we're going to do is bring up a set heading phase. So that we've got the, we're going to use that to set up the phase, the heading of these two trackers. So I've still got them selected out there. I'm going to store them into that particular phase. And I'm going to hit the heading to maybe -45. And now let's just rerun this little collection of phases, and the selection has changed because actually the solver is still redoing the auto place each time. We'll turn that off, and we'll have it reselect our original two trackers. And here are the two trackers that are now aligned along that same southeast orientation as the original map, the real world map. So from this point, let's see, maybe we want to take the one tracker here and use that as the origin of the coordinate system. So we'll go and we'll create another phase that says slide the whole scene around and put it so that the average of all the selected trackers, and there's just going to be one, is located at these following coordinates. So I'm just storing away that one selected tracker. I deselected the other. And now it's being told to move that one tracker to the origin. So if I resolve, now you see it's sitting down at the origin. And so now we've set up the position and the orientation of the scene, the orientation being given by the ground plane and the heading that we set. We haven't set any scaling of the scene at all. And obviously we could use some measurements on the ground to do that. But let's have a little more fun and do something else. Here's the camera. The camera is sitting up here currently at like 13 units off the ground. Let's say we actually know that the helicopter was 300 feet in the air from an altimeter reading. So let's go and set up a camera height phase. And that height measurement now is at some particular frame in the shot, because obviously the height can be changing throughout the shot. So I'm just going to go to the end of the shot, say that's most likely where I knew where the height was. I'll set the frame there, and now I'm just going to go and enter in my 300, rerun, and now over here we've got the camera is now sitting at a Z height around 300. Well, it's sitting exactly at 300. So there's our 300. So now from the phases, we've used the phases to set the heading, the orientation, to set the coordinate system origin, to adjust the overall scaling of the coordinate system. Let's just take a quick look over at the perspective view. And one thing we also need to do is go and adjust our world size to something more reasonable, since we've got the camera fairly high up in the sky. So let's make this up more like 2000. And that's just going to set up the relative scaling of things in the perspective view. And what I wanted to look at is up here. You can see maybe in a very light blue there's the horizon line. And you see the horizon line is a little tilted. And that's just as a result of, you know, the random collection of points that are being used in the foreground of the shot to set up the coordinate system for the autoplane. So there's a little bit of a rotation involved in that perhaps we'd like to take out. So let's see if maybe we can go and use our phases to fix that up as well. So if we go look back in the scene, you know, here are two trackers that are more or less parallel to that horizon line. So let's select those, and we'll go back to our phase view. And let's just make a little room and add in a set horizon just for fun. And we want to store away our two trackers in that. And it defaults to the current frame, which is good. So let's rerun. We'll rerun the whole thing now. We'll just change this view to be the perspective view also. And now, if we look, you know, we see that the horizon line is now parallel to the actual horizon. Here's the horizon line. But it's a bit below it, and that's because those features that we're using to adjust it aren't really out on the horizon. They're really foreground points that are sitting down there. So we need to just adjust that horizon a little bit. So there are actually some angles in here that we can use to adjust, you know, the direction to the horizon, roll. So if the two trackers weren't exactly parallel to the horizon, we could tweak that up a little bit. In this case, we can do a pitch adjustment and pitch the horizon line up or down a little bit. So let's just see what we can do with that. So 1 degree is really pretty decent. Maybe it could be a little bit larger. So I don't know, we'll make it 1.1 or something. So there we have it. We've used a collection of 6 different phases to do a solve of the scene and really adjust the coordinate system pretty much until we get exactly what we have in mind. So this gives you an idea of kind of the approach that you can use using the phases to just work through and set it up to do what you want it to do. So enjoy. Take care.